The initial deal is done. Donald Trump has personally signed the Iran deal in Versailles, and I'm hoping it holds. Now, the funny thing is, Democrats are pissed off. They're calling it a surrender. And neocons are pissed off because it negatively impacts Israel. Everybody else is pretty happy to see that the war is going to end, that we're going to bring our military back, that the strait's going to be opening up, that gas prices are going down. So all in all, I'd say pretty dang good news on the foreign policy front. Hopefully this holds. This deal was supposed to be signed Friday. I guess they signed it now in Versailles. It's opening up 60 days of long-term negotiations. Hopefully those 60 days go well. But I can't imagine at this point, with Trump saying he's calling back the Navy and the military, that they would actually extend this conflict. Plus, the midterms are coming up. So he knew at some point he'd have to pull things back. And maybe we got the full details of what's called the Memorandum of Understanding, the initial deal, and we'll be going through all of that. But Trump, at 3:54 in the morning, went nuclear on Democrats, pissed off that he cuts this deal. Democrats are like, we're not going to give you FISA unless Bill Pulte is polled as acting DNI. They take away that nomination. So the Republicans agree. Trump says, fine, nominate somebody else. And now the Democrats are saying, well, we're still not going to nominate your guy, and we're still not going to give you what you want. So Trump said, that's it, we're done. Bill Pulte's back. I'm done playing these games. And that's exactly what he should have done. Stop playing these games. The funny thing is, though, who needs FISA? Like, Trump does? I don't know. The Democrats in Congress want FISA? It's so weird, isn't it? Trump blocking the FISA bill, which would allow the executive branch under him to engage in foreign surveillance. Who's he blackmailing? Like who's he leveraging against? Himself? Makes you wonder about who is currently active in the U.S. government, and it makes me think that the deep state's still very much there, and Trump knows it. And he's basically telling them, you're not going to be able to use FISA. I'm not going to let it happen. Wild story. We'll talk about that. A bunch of other crazy stuff. Joe Rogan revealed that at the time, current and past presidents were trying to get Spotify to ban his show and shut him down because of his now correct, or at the time always correct, opinions on vaccines. Very, very interesting stuff to see where we've come out in terms of culture. So we're going to get into all of that, my friends. Before we do, we got a great sponsor for you. It is Backyard Butchers. Head over to backyardbutchers.com. Use promo code TIM. You'll get 30% off up to 30% off 2 free 10-ounce ribeyes. Here's what got my attention this week, my friend. Secretary of Agriculture publicly warned that America's consolidated meat supply is a threat to the country itself. Think about that. Just 4 companies control the majority of America's beef supply, and the largest is foreign-owned. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's national food security. And here's what most people don't realize. A single pound of conventional grocery store ground beef can contain DNA from hundreds of different cattle, which is just one of the most disgusting things I've ever. But it's kind of obvious, right? That they're just chucking all the cows into one big meat grinder and then selling you this, like, meat punch beef. Just, okay. Well, here's a solution for you. Americans got to return to tradition where you know your rancher, you know the land, you know where your meat is coming from. That's why you guys got to check out Backyard Butchers. They are the American tradition. Backyard Butchers offers premium American beef from real Texas ranchers, born, raised, and processed right here in the U.S. 98% grass-fed, 2% grain-finished, 0 hormones, 0 antibiotics, 0 preservatives. Go to backyardbutchers.com and use promo code TIM for up to 30% off and 2 free 10-ounce ribeyes plus free shipping. And this summer, Backyard Butchers is celebrating America's 250th anniversary with a free America 250 box when you purchase a steakhouse box, complete with burgers and hot dogs, built for my favorite holiday, American independence, the 4th of July, which is in MAGA month, as we all know. Go to backyardbutchers.com. Use promo code TIM. Get that 30% off. Get those ribeyes. Free shipping. Backyard Butchers. American tradition. American meat. I also want to just shout out, guys, we sold out of the No Redcoats board. That's the one depicting Ian as a redcoat getting massacred by American patriots. We also sold out of our Patriot Rooster, which is a gigantic, unbelievably ripped rooster riding on a horse. We do still have, I think, a dozen or so of the Boonies America 250 boards, and there's 50 of these, 55 total, because 5 are special limited edition. They're all limited edition, but they're special gold, black and gold special edition serialized boards. There's 5, and you can get one of these numbered boards. Same is true for all the boards. They've all got the special limited edition serialized. So check out boonieshq.com store. Don't forget to also smash that like button, share the show with everyone you know. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more is Stephen L. Ebadi.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing well. Who are you, sir? What do you do?
I'm a former intelligence officer, also a contractor. Started my career with the intelligence community, special operations, and as a contractor, as a linguist in Iraq. Got my special immigration visa after some crazy stuff. And
you've basically been everywhere. You were obviously Iraq, of course, but you were also in
Iraq,
Ukraine.
Yeah, Iraq, Afghanistan, Ukraine, a few other countries. And my last assignment when I was an intel officer for the Army CI Command, I was actually the senior political advisor for the entire Ukraine mission.
Wow. And we were talking a bit about this before the show, but you have tremendous insights into the current Iran situation, the war.
I do.
What's been going on, why it's been happening, as well as some of these other conflicts. So it's fantastic to have you here on the most auspicious of days, the day that Trump signs his MOU. Here you are. You can give us the breakdown on what's been going on. So good to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yep. Ian isn't...
First time on live podcast, by the way.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes.
Wow, right on. And you've got some other crazy stories, too. We'll just get into everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Ian is, in fact, alive.
Hi.
He survived the revolution. He's here.
I usually do. Hi, everybody. Happy to be back. Phil Abonti, talk me.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Abonti. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. What's up, Carter?
What up, Phil? Let's get into it, man. I can't wait to...
Here's a story from Fox News. Trump personally signs Iran deal at Versailles in major diplomatic breakthrough. President Donald Trump personally signed the U.S.-Iran Memorandum of Understanding during a dinner at the Palace of Versailles. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian also signed the agreement. And, very, very good news. We thought it was going to be on Friday, but French reporters were asking the president. He says it's signed. We signed it in Versailles. We just signed it. Absolutely tremendous. And we do have the list here from CNN. We'll give you the quick breakdown. I'll try to read this very quickly. 14 points. And, of course, there's a lot of people who are angry. The pro-Israel faction here in this country are very, very upset over this deal, which is stupid. But we are the United States, not Israel, so I don't care. 1, the U.S. and the Islamic Republic of Iran and their current allies, they're signing the MOU to declare an immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including in Lebanon, and undertake from now on not to initiate any war or any military operation against each other and to refrain from the threat or use of force against each other, and ensuring the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon. The final deal will confirm the permanent termination of the war on all fronts, including... Notice how it says Lebanon like 27 times. It's like, we're making sure this is about Israel, they're saying. The U.S. and Iran undertake to respect each other's sovereignty. We get it. They say they commit to negotiating over 60 days. Immediately upon the signing of the MOU, the U.S. will begin the removal of its naval blockade and any disturbances or impediments against Iran, and will fully end the naval blockade within 30 days. During this period, the traffic of vessels will be in proportion to the numbers of pre-war traffic being restored. Upon signing, Iran will make arrangements using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vessels with no charge for 60 days only from the Persian Gulf, obviously because they expect to have a deal before the 60 days. So this is just a 60-day interim deal. The U.S. undertakes the regional partners to develop a definitive mutually agreed plan with at least $300 billion for the reconstruction and economic development of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The mechanism for the implementation of this plan will be finalized as part of a final deal within 60 days. All required licenses, waivers, and permissions needed for the relevant financial transactions will be granted. The next one is that there will be security resolutions, blah, 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 agreed upon schedule for the deal. Yada, yada, yada. We get it. 8 is basically the same thing. Stockpiled enriched material. They're going to negotiate how they deal with this stuff. We get it. The U.S. and Iran acknowledge the critical importance of the nuclear issues above mentioned. They express their intention to immediately address these issues in negotiations. Pending the final deal, the U.S. and the Islamic Republic of Iran agree to maintain the status quo. Iran will maintain its current status quo of its nuclear program, and the U.S. will not impose any new sanctions and will not deploy additional forces in the region. The U.S. undertakes the immediate, upon signing of the MOU, and until the termination of sanctions, the U.S. Department of Treasury will issue waivers for the export of Iranian crude oil, petroleum products, and derivatives, and all associated services. The U.S. undertakes to make fully available frozen or restricted funds and assets of the Islamic Republic of Iran upon the implementation of this MOU. The U.S. and Iran agree that an executive mechanism will be established to monitor the successful implementation. After it's signed, beginning of all these paragraphs, blah, 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 the U.S. and Iran will start negotiations. 14 is the final deal will be endorsed by a binding UN Security Council resolution. So I think this is great. And I think liberals are losing their minds for fake reasons. I think they're angry about everything, no matter what happens. I think the pro-Israel crowd is angry because Iran basically used the Lebanon conflict as leverage with the United States. Thus, Israel is now constrained based on their alliance with the United States. I believe that the bigger picture here is that Trump wiped out all of the longstanding leadership of Iran. Anything after this is a new government with new negotiations. So am I happy that the war started? No, but I think this is a good thing because obviously the gas prices is a problem. However, I will say that I think they dragged out as long as possible because they wanted to choke out China, damage OPEC, and position the United States as one of the largest oil exporters in the world.
I don't know if I'm feeling cynical today, but this is like on Friday when Israel hits Lebanon again and Iran fires missiles back, and then all of a sudden we realize nothing changed.
Agreed.
What is
that's a possibility, and because obviously the Israelis are not happy. They're I guess the most dissatisfied with this deal, but again. You have to look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture here, we can dive into a little bit more deep into this. This is actually probably not the best outcome. This entire war was planned in 2024 during the Biden admin, and is basically they were trying to choke China from their oil energy supply about at least 75%. And that's why Venezuela happened, and this one actually took place as well. And I bet you this deal is going to redirect Iran, majority of Iran's oil into Europe, and because that's going to be affecting Russia as well. Because Russia, if you guys know, they're still selling their oil indirectly to Europe. So this is a two birds in one stone. It's going to hurt Russia, and it's going to hurt China. And I believe the bigger picture here, and I'm also positive, the bigger picture here is at some point we're going to have to engage with China in a more aggressive way.
You mean war?
Yeah, basically.
So you think the prospect of war with China is increasing?
Yes.
When she said, hopefully we can avoid Thucydides' trap, he's basically telling the U.S. to surrender. He's saying, back down, you've lost, we're taking over, and we don't want war. That's what he said.
Yeah, and from the labor perspective and production, China is actually obviously dominating. And at some point, we're going to have to cut that off. Otherwise, they're going to surpass us. And I think we're looking at maybe 2029.
2029 war with China.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, the funny thing about war is that we're basically at war all the time, nonstop. It's just what we're willing to admit. China's been launching cyber attacks against the U.S. for a long time. They've been stealing our IP. They've been hiring spies. We had a mayor in California who was a spy for China. All this stuff going on for decades.
We have an entire division at DIA dedicated. It's called SCRIM, Supply Chain Risk Management. Like an entire division of analysts, intelligence analysts, actually vetting the supply chain, but a lot of it.
Remember when they were saying that our toasters are spying on us? They were like, China was hiding secret Bluetooth in your toaster that couldn't be detected, but it was like scanning everything. I don't think people realize how serious this stuff is. They released this program. You can get a chip. I forgot what it's called. You guys probably know, but you can turn your Wi-Fi router into like X-ray vision.
Yep.
So you can load up this program. It's open source. And with a special piece of hardware, it can show you people moving around inside based on the Wi-Fi signal strength. Absolutely insane. So if we're getting all our products made in China, they could easily launch products that can do these things.
Yeah.
And that's why the U.S. military banned the purchase of Chinese-made products. I think it was during Trump's first term. Imagine what they can do by having these signals in a military. They can see how many people are in there. They can probably collect audio too.
Yeah, they can actually. What router they?
Cisco systems.
Yeah, the Cisco. I think. Yeah, that was actually banned in the use within the government about 7 years ago.
Yep, because all of the stuff that comes out of China has got some kind of backdoor or
Yep,
something.
and they've been hacking. Those are actually a very. China's been hacking us for a very long time. One of them is you know what a PIF card is, right?
No, it's that.
It's like your military ID.
Yep.
And you have
card.
the CAC basically.
Yep.
So we have CAC readers, and that's for basically the unclassified NIPR systems.
Yeah.
And so you get these CAC readers, and they were Thursby, the company, and for years we were using them. And in 2018, Air Force OSI, Office of Special Investigation, they actually discovered the hack. They were actually those CAC readers. They were developed, co-developed with Kaspersky. It's the Russian cybersecurity company. They have the the antivirus. So they stole over 7 million records. And if you guys don't know, this is the software where everybody's security clearance information is plugged into. I think it's like defense information something system, and that's where any security officer or facility officer, they take your name, social security to verify like you have a security clearance and whatnot. 7 million records, and that's back in between 2014 and 2018. That's when we found out about it. And shout out to OSI. Actually, they have a really good intelligence division. But that's the capacity we're dealing with, and China is using any way possible to hack our systems.
Yep.
And and it's really hard to track everything. And just be aware of what you buy in, and you can go to DISA, the Defense Information System Agency, DISA.mil, and approved product list. It's actually pretty good, and you can stay fairly secured because they keep up with what they actually secured nowadays.
We were talking about this a little bit before the show. I've maintained for a long time now at this war that the purpose is to cut off China from its energy, and that it's possible that these plans extended well beyond the Trump administration, and there's holdovers in military. And so can you break down for us why we went to war with Iran this past time? I mean, I think we've been in conflict with them for a long, long time, but Trump sending the Armada in and all this stuff. What was the plan?
So I can't get into the details because
Classifications.
Yeah, classifications. But the overall, like, we had to cut China off. We had to cut China oil. They were getting oil from Iran to like basically $5 a barrel. That's
Whoa.
Yeah. And that's like,
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Iran's basically giving like free, basically.
Yeah. And so we had to cut that off.
But can you say why Iran was doing that?
Because Iran couldn't, because of the sanctions on Iran, they couldn't sell their oil to anybody else. So China was basically one of the couple places they can sell. Like I think maybe like only China and 2 other countries they can sell oil to. And so China was buying about 95% of the Iranian oil, and that's why China got ahead so fast as far as their technology and everything else, because energy is dirt cheap for them.
Yeah, I think it was 80% of everything Iran shipped went to China.
Yeah.
So it was 13 to 14% of China's total seaborne imports were from Iran.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's not obviously not the majority, but it's a significant amount. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's
also,
seaborne. It's seaborne. It's not just oil. That's basically import on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Venezuela was adding like around 500,000 barrels a day, which is like 4 to 5% of seaborne crude going to
Yeah.
China. You know, so
And that's basically that's what we did. We cut Venezuela off, and we're cutting Iran. And I think Iran's oil, they're gonna lift some sanctions because Iran, they need to be able to sell their oil to somebody else. And I think most of their oil is going to get redirected to Europe, and that will alleviate a lot of the energy cost in Europe, and it will be good for the European. But no matter how this deal was going to go down, whether the war continues or not, somebody is going to be upset, and that's just the way it is. But we have to look out for our national interest.
But we're going to go to war with China. You're saying we got a couple years left.
I believe 2029 we'll end up in an actual kinetic war with them.
That's World War III.
What would that look like?
I mean, it's a nuclear power, so
You think
Or, like,
nukes are going to go
dropping-
flying?
I mean,
So let's break this down though,
How would
because
that
it's a bold
benefit
claim. Because if you can sell it to me, I'll go buy a bunker right now. I'll disappear off into the woods. Why do you think we're going to be in war with China 2029?
we will have to. It's inevitable because the way China is rapidly ramping up production and dominating the production around the globe, and the market. I mean, they're gonna surpass us as the number one global power, and
we won't let that happen.
And obviously, I mean, do you want them to be?
Well, I do like Chinese food. I mean, I for one welcome our new Chinese communist over there.
I mean, a nuclear war
Well,
with China.
Han has got a restaurant right around the corner.
Perfect, perfect. And you know, like being part Asian, I'm sure they'll totally accept me.
Yep.
I don't buy it. I don't believe that there will be a war in 29 with China. I see no value.
And you also believe you can stop the rain with your mind.
But I'm not saying
the war?
I said I don't believe. Like you got
With
to show me
what's the magic word again?
give me a reason because a nuclear
What you got to
war.
tell them,
What's the magic word? Do I have to tell him?
Ian?
Oh, your magic word,
No, what's the magic word when you stop the rain?
Alua. What you were saying earlier.
Yeah, a lot.
Play your games. But I mean, it seems like a ridiculous contention that the U.S. and China would go to nuclear war just to try and because then we would both lose.
It's
That's how fights happen, bro.
yeah.
Someone thinks they're going to win,
I mean,
or like they don't think at all.
And we're talking
Ian,
defense strat. I'm talking to a strategist.
Honest question. When was the last time you were in a fight?
38 years ago.
I think
30
like a legitimate fight. Yeah, me too. Probably decades ago. You know, I've had like little scuffles here and there. You can watch them on live stream, but I've never actually gotten to a physical. Well, I don't know. There's a guy at Occupy Wall Street who smacked my phone, and I grabbed his arm and locked him, like, and just held him because I didn't want to get into a fight. Well, my point ultimately is, when people fight, they're not sitting there being like, "Bro, we can't fight because then we'll both lose." It's a guy being like, "I'll kill you," and then the other guy's like, "I'll kill you first," and they start swinging at each other.
Incensed, you know.
somebody will come on top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll both be all messed up.
I mean, anything could happen, but that's my prediction, honestly, for multiple reasons that I cannot divulge.
Well, let's talk surface level stuff though. Let's talk like economics. Like, what is China doing right now? That's the biggest threat. We've given them our manufacturing for decades. Why are we shocked this is happening?
No, I mean, and we kind of shot ourselves in the foot, and from foreign policy perspective, and we should have dealt with Iran about at least 25 years ago, and I actually made that suggestion when I started working with the Americans back in 2003, and I was like, you guys should deal with Iran like right now and get it over with.
Well, they certainly wanted to.
Yeah, I was laughed out of the room.
Well, I mean, that was the point of going into Iraq and Afghanistan. We set up all these bases on both sides. We wanted to be able to strike on every front, but Iran is not a small desert nation. It is a populous, mountainous nation, and it's not going to be easy for the U.S. to conquer.
Yeah, it's not, but it would have been a lot easier when we had our full military between Iraq and Afghanistan, so we can attack them both.
Oh, why not just nuke them?
Yeah, well, a lot of people. I'm not a big fan of nukes. Those things are ugly.
Well, there's a conspiracy there that nukes don't exist. For real. Yeah. There's a conspiracy theory that nuclear weapons do not exist.
a real thing?
Yeah.
There are people that believe
that. So what these people believe, like we saw the Moab, remember the mother of all bombs?
Yeah.
Massive. So the conspiracy theory is that explosives exist and massive ordnance exists. So when we bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we were just using massive traditional payloads, but we claimed it was single nuclear bombs to make it seem, look how powerful we are. Since then, the nuclear weapons that the U.S. claims to have, well, that the U.S. we believe has, are upwards of 1,250 times more powerful than the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah, those are hydrogen bombs. Yeah.
So those are generation one. Now we're talking about MIRVs, multiple independently targeted reentry vehicles, a single ICBM carrying up to 12 warheads, each of which are several orders of magnitude stronger than those bombs, or at least an order of magnitude. No, actually, I think it would be several orders. And so the conspiracy theory is that's all fake. The footage of these big nuclear blasts and everything was meant to scare our enemies, and we actually don't have them because if we did, we'd use them. Because why wouldn't we? And here's the honest question. What is the argument for the U.S. not using nuclear weapons on Iran? I'm not saying we should. I'm saying what is the practical, legitimate argument the U.S. would not use even low-yield nuclear weapons to end the war and just win?
Yeah, you don't want a lot of people dead.
But again, I'm not talking about high yield like megaton bombs.
I mean,
I'm talking about low yield tactical stuff.
The lowest
pepper their seaboard and wipe out their military capabilities in the Strait.
Yeah, I mean the lowest that we have, it's probably at least 10 times more powerful than Moab.
Well, no, we've got a gravity bomb was developed about 10 years ago that is a much more compact, very, very small version of the original bomb dropped, comparable power to what we dropped on Japan. But it's very, very small. So there were questions about why would the U.S. develop a gravity bomb? You need a bomber for it. And they said we streamlined it, we revolutionized it. It's small, compact, and now one bomber can carry several. And much more powerful. You have options. So we have these. You don't need to wipe out whole cities and kill 10 million people. You can. The U.S. could be using very effective, low yield, and even low radiation. But we never see this in action. We only ever see traditional weapons.
Yeah, I mean, you need to look at it. This is a multiple. I mean, they could use that, but I mean, still, it's going to kill. Traditionally, it's going to kill a lot more people. It's just the way it is. But globally, I mean, how is that perception going to look? I mean,
I think. If I was going to make the argument, like if someone asked me like, hey, why shouldn't we nuke Iran? I would say because you need people there to run the show so that you can actually win something. Unless you're talking about boots on the ground, taking the whole country over, what Trump has right now with this deal is one of the best outcomes you could probably get from a war. You need someone who will negotiate, who will agree, and then run things. Otherwise, you're leaving a smoldering wasteland.
For the record, the Cold War nuclear weapons, the B-41 was a 25 megaton. The ones they're using now are like 400 kilotons. They're 50 times smaller, 80 times smaller, 500 times smaller.
400 kiloton? Or do you mean 0.4? 400
kilotons, which is 0.4 mega.
Because we've got the B-61 gravity bomb in commission, which is 0.3 kilotons. That's very, 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 very small.
Right. Very accurate and very small.
And we don't use them.
They're aiming for now.
And these, and yes, I understand these probably will result in more death. If you're targeting civilian infrastructure, if you're targeting military infrastructure, it's no different than using 10 of the other bombs. And it shows we mean business.
Yeah.
I guess the argument is once you cross the threshold of it's nuclear, you open the door. I don't buy that though. I think that's silly. I also don't believe in mutually assured destruction.
Hypothetically, like if you had a conventional bomb that had a yield that was higher than, say, the smallest nuclear bomb that you could make or that they could develop, if you use the nuclear bomb, the rest of the world is going to say they use nukes.
Yeah,
and whether or not you believe it, you may not think that it's valid, but I think that on the international stage, there are people that will say the downstream effects of using a nuclear weapon.
It's a political disaster.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a political disaster, and there's a reason when Trump made that comment, like what is it, power plants and bridges day?
Yeah.
I knew that was not going to happen, and because. As soon as you get to that point, you literally send that country back into the Stone Ages,
Yeah.
and it will be 100 times more expensive to redevelop.
Exactly.
And so I knew
The goal is capitulation by force,
yeah.
not wiping them out.
Only if you're already in a total war would you wipe them out.
yeah, and like even during Saddam, the invasion of Iraq. Actually, I was still in Iraq, so I remember both. And they did not completely destroy the entire infrastructure. What they did, they used whatchamacallem, the electronic bombs that actually disabled power plants and whatnot, and did not actually bomb them to where they cannot be repaired, but they were able to kneecap the Saddam army to be able to go all the way to Baghdad and accomplish the mission, overthrow the regime. And but they didn't actually completely destroy the infrastructure. What happened? Iraq got destroyed is actually because of the after fact, because the Muslim Shiite
War.
war,
Yeah.
and they were slaughtering each other, killing each other, IEDs and whatnot. They were obviously the GWAT era, so when the terrorists, Al Qaeda and whatnot, they start using civilian infrastructure to actually launch massive, like very aggressive attacks, and that's how we most of it got actually destroyed. So, yeah, that's that. I think there's an inevitable war with China. I hope it does not become nuclear, but there's actually a bigger threat. China is actually way ahead of us. It's called you called it multiple reentry vehicle.
Multiple independently targeted re-entry vehicles.
Yeah,
MIRVs.
it's actually the actual military terminology, and I made a post and I put a study. It's actually hypersonic missile glider vehicles. That's the designation that we have for it, and China is way ahead of us in that technology. And the Iron Dome Trump was talking about building.
That's not going to stop it, right?
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out a way to actually stop that particular threat.
So here's the MIRV. These things are ancient. This is 1968, the first test. 1970 for actual use case. This is ancient tech. The reason hypersonic missiles are a threat, this is what you got to understand. All of these ICBMs are faster than sound, but they go up into space or they go up high in the atmosphere. They can be easily detected by radar, long-range radar. Hypersonic missiles stay very close to the ground, so by the time they're coming around, you are too late to detect them. That's the challenge. They're super fast. They're actually not as fast as some of the ICBMs we have, but they're harder to detect because they fly low.
Well, these hypersonic glide vehicles fly high. The glider takes them way up, and then they drop from the glider and go hypersonic down.
So we use that on Iran, which is incredible. We actually launched these missiles from fighters that they go straight up and then come straight down. We got insane weapons. And there's rumors that we actually have rods from God. Are you familiar with these?
No.
They're a hypothetical weapon. Some people believe they are real, where we launched gigantic tungsten rods into space and keep them in orbit because you actually don't need the fuel to launch them. The idea is you keep them in orbit. It's not that much energy to maintain its orbital velocity, but at any moment you can drop this gigantic tungsten rod down and it's like 10 times more powerful than the most powerful nuke we have. In fact, they were featured in the G.I. Joe movie 14 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I could be. Just because I had a top secret security clearance and with access to sensitive compartmented information and a counterintelligence polygraph, that doesn't mean I had access to everything. That a lot of people, they think there's a misconception that when you have the highest level of clearance, no, that's why we have SAP.
So here's
special access
here's
programs.
the G.I. Joe film with a hypothetical tungsten rod being launched from a satellite onto the UK. I love how in G.I. Joe they just literally vaporized London City. It's gone.
Believe it or not, I've never,
They're like, oh my God, you blew up London. Just there's no more London ever in the G.I. Joe universe. It's just, there you go. Now, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't do this,
Inshallah.
you know? But this is the idea, right? They've got a satellite loaded with tungsten rods and it just drops them. And then London.
I don't know what
20
they call
million
them,
people
but
are
I know
dead.
we do have weapon systems up in space, and those are not classified.
Well, remember when China fired the lasers over Hawaii?
Yeah.
And the media said it was a conspiracy theory? I'm going to pull that one up. That's freaky. That should freak everybody out.
Yeah. So
And everybody was like, Marjorie Taylor Greene is crazy for thinking they're space lasers, and there literally are space lasers.
So you can look that up, and after that, you can look something up, and that's where the Chinese is actually ahead of us.
What's that?
The DF-17.
DF-17.
Yeah, DF-17 hypersonic missile glider vehicle. And that's actually
Here we go.
the least technical one they have.
China's green space lasers in Hawaii. Check out this video. Remember that?
Yeah, was that? When was that? Was that in?
This is slowed down, by the way. Yep.
Yeah.
It was scanning. We believe it was doing topological scans.
Dongfeng 17.
Yeah. Chinese environment warning, satellite beams green lasers. And a lot of people were like, they're energy weapons, but they wouldn't have the energy. A directed energy weapon from 55, was it probably 50, was low orbit, like 60 miles or something? It's more than that, right? It's 100?
60. No, I think it's less than 100 mile.
I think so too.
Like,
Oh no, it's 100. Yeah.
Oh, it is
okay.
100. Oh.
Yeah, so when they're using weapons and stuff, it sits around the low end, but it can be 100 to 1,200 miles. It's low orbit. So Starlink apparently is around 250 miles. They're likely using a similar. It takes a lot of energy to maintain low orbit because they have to move substantially faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, for those that don't understand how orbit works, you're always falling. The International Space Station is falling straight to Earth, but it's moving laterally so fast that it's falling at the same speed that it's actually traveling. That's how orbit works. Crazy, right?
yeah, Putin said that these hypersonic missiles. He said, I think it was in 2019.
Yeah,
that
the
there's no
Russian-
missile defenses that can stop these things. Right?
Yeah, the Russian, I think they have the.
It's called the Avant-Garde.
I forgot the version they have, but they initially who developed that, China took their model and they improved on it, and then we found out about it a couple of years later, and we're like too late to the game, and we did like an entire study back in 2022, and at DIA. We have like a whole division dedicated to that, and we still don't have anything can stop it. Like there's nothing out there can stop this.
Right.
Yeah, and if you go to my
check
X,
this out. They got this example of how it works, right?
Yep.
Ballistic missiles, they launch up and they come down. There's the radio horizon, so we can detect it from far away. But these
The glider vehicle is,
they go low. So this is a hypersonic glide body. It stays relatively low, so it's harder, much more difficult to detect.
and it's maneuverable. Like the warhead, yeah,
Yes.
it maneuvers.
Like a cruise missile.
Yeah, no, they can maneuver it.
I don't
So if you shoot
believe
something on it, like they can avoid it.
I don't believe in the concept of mutually assured destruction for a few reasons. We've been told this our whole lives. The reason we don't use nuclear weapons on our enemies is because they would fire nukes on us, and then it would just be nukes flying everywhere. And the first thing I say is, if we nuked China, why would China nuke India? The argument goes back to like World War I, World War II. Well, like China would retaliate, and then we'd invoke alliances, and then everyone's firing nukes at each other. And I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I think if the U.S. fired a nuke at China and China fired a nuke at the United States, the first thing that probably happens is if we launch a nuke striking China, what is the military benefit for China to strike civilian targets other than mass economic damage? Which, of course, it's funny when it comes to war stuff. People say like, oh, you don't attack civilians. And okay, sure, but like you're talking about surface level war. You really want to stop an enemy from fighting? You need to remove their food. Sherman's March to the Sea. We get it. If you are fighting a like first stage war where it's like, no, look, we're just going to take out their military capabilities and stop them. Sure. But if you are fighting a to the death Thucydides trap World War III with China, there is a good reason why China would bomb Nebraska to eliminate large swaths of arable land, reducing our ability to consume food. They target California. The Eastern California produces like a seventh of the world's for some ridiculous amount of food. So they would absolutely target that. However, in the event China hit us, we would retaliate on specific targets to cripple China. They might retaliate back, but I don't see China nuking Japan for no reason. I don't see India deciding to nuke Pakistan. Now's our chance. They're nuking. Let's nuke everybody. I don't think it's reality. And additionally, what we already saw during during the Cold War was that there were instances where there's that famous incident where the Soviet got a false flag warning, and the guy in the submarine was basically instructed, like, you have to retaliate, and he refused to do it. So I think these things all indicate that the core concept of mutual assured destruction, I believe, is not a guarantee at the bare minimum. I understand the idea. Certainly it's possible. But I'm saying this idea that it's mutually assured. I don't think anything's assured in that capacity. But I will stress, not every nuclear weapon is a SAR bomba. Not every weapon is a 50 megaton bomb that's going to wipe out 100,000 people. Some of these bombs are 0.3 of a kiloton, and they're going to flatten a couple acres and permanently destroy a military target. But if we used that against China in war, they're not going to retaliate with a MIRV wiping out the U.S. eastern seaboard. That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I see your concept. I honestly don't have a particular opinion on it, like, believe it or not, because it could go either way. If people are crazy enough, they do crazy things. But technically, from a military standpoint, like, you don't want to completely destroy a country, especially if you're trying to conquer it. So you cripple it enough where if you want to take over, you'll be able to actually rebuild and reshape it the way you want. And I believe China also have the same theory as the U.S. actually, or the same military strategy as the U.S. has as well.
And could you imagine how awful it would be if we lost Macau? It's basically it's like 10 times Vegas. All the degeneracy of the world sitting right there. Oh, heavens.
Not Macau. There have been
Not Macau.
Like, I think it was the city of Tyre, Alexander the Great completely razed every aspect of it, murdered every civilian. I'm not sure if it was Tyre. Every once in a while, Genghis Khan would come to a city and they wouldn't surrender, so he would kill everyone in the city, burn everything to the ground.
Yeah, they burned the Library of Baghdad. The story goes that the Tigris River turned into ink color because the Library of Baghdad was so big. It had like millions of books.
Mm-hmm.
And the Tigris turned it into basically a blue ink color for a couple days.
I was told Scott Horton was saying that during the Cold War, the Americans were ready for a nuclear catastrophe with the Russians. And they said, if this does go to some sort of mutually assured nuclear war, we have all the targets in the Russian cities ready to go. Everything will fire. Russia's done. Also, they had all of China lined up because they said, look, if we're going down and America and Russia are going to blow each other up, we're not going to leave the rest of the world these dirty Chi-coms. And they were like, and I feel like that's still is ready to go. But now we got decentralized command and nuclear submarines that are ready to fire 7 months from now. If you launch today, like sleeper cells, basically waiting to pop.
Yep, we do have those.
Yeah, I mean, there were something like 10,000 Chinese nationals that have come over the border from Mexico.
I believe there are more than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredibly likely, but basically, I mean, it's multiple. Basically a full army here in the U.S. from China that came over illegally, and there's also times where the FBI has found actual Chinese police forces, not official, but they're basically policing Chinatown. You hear about Chinese nationals sending information, getting caught for espionage, whether it be industrial espionage or espionage against the federal government. China's an adversary, and anyone that doesn't think China's an adversary
they're out of their mind.
They're out of their mind. They're just naive, and we need to treat China like they're an adversary. We need to do what we can to make sure that I think that what Elon Musk is doing with TerraFab is great. He's going to be building chips probably mostly for his own companies. But what's going on in Arizona with building chips out there, the U.S. should look at building chips as a national security issue because without these high-tech chips that we get from Taiwan now, most of our advantage, technological advantage, is gone.
Do you guys remember when Joe Biden signed the CHIPS Act?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys actually read the entire thing?
No.
It wasn't as good as it wanted it to be.
I read it 3 times.
There were
It's a
so
great
many.
read. I read it before bed. I'm kidding. I did not.
There were so many loopholes in it.
Yeah.
That actually still allows China to still get their supply chain in.
Does Biden like work for China or something, or what's going on?
I don't think he actually knew what it was. When he signed it, it was just basically the commies in Congress when they wrote it up. Well, they just titled it, Combat China, the CHIPS Act.
Yeah.
And they're really good with crafting names for bills they want to pass. And of course. Yeah, I don't know who they hired.
We had someone on the show was talking about how there was this, like, in the late 2000s or something, a bunch of U.S. politicians met with Chinese officials. And do you remember who was telling us this?
No,
and they were like, how do we do what you do, right? The Chinese government can flatten a residential neighborhood, scattering all the people to the wind, and then build a superhighway in a week. And the U.S. like, this takes us 30 years. And they're like, well, we'll show you how to do it. My conspiracy theory is that Republicans and Democrats, before Trump, knew that Thucydides' trap was a very real outcome. And so they decided, why are we fighting? Like, why am I fighting? I'm rich, you know? So how about this, China? You give me a sweetheart deal. We will work with you to whittle down the United States empire. China will become the new multipolar power. The new unipolar power. America will wane. We will accelerate the decline of America to prevent a war from happening. And we, the elites of the United States, will transfer our money to Chinese assets so we remain rich forever. I think that was the plan, and that's why they gave all our manufacturing and companies over to China. It's why they've been so deferential. It's why when Trump came in and Michael Flynn said Russia is not our greatest threat, China is, they immediately put him under investigation, tried locking him up.
What they did to that guy was terrible.
And then Trump gets in and he says, no, China, it's going to be America. And now what we're looking, especially with this Iran war stuff, cutting off China from half their energy for how many months has it been? It's about 4 months of them being cut off. They keep pushing back the timeline by which China is supposed to overtake the U.S. as the dominant power, as the global economic power. And these things that Trump is doing keep pushing them back. I think Trump was like, no, China's not going to be the dominant global power. The U.S. will, and we're going to bring it all back. And these deep state elements are people, they're looking at massive investments in Chinese infrastructure, and they're like, oh, no, if Trump does this, I'll lose everything. And then Trump's been doing it.
Yeah, that's a major component of it. I think you hit the nail on its head, to be honest with you. I think they were seeing the writing on the wall after they opened China to the open market, to the global market. And they're looking at the entire world, and especially with the new generation of our people, like youth, they all have a commie tendency because we created that mentality for them. So they were accelerating to actually decline the U.S. And if the elites stays in power, they don't care where their loyalty is, as long as they still have their money and influence and whatnot. And Donald Trump comes in and put basically slashed it with a sword, I guess, or smashed it with a hammer. And basically he reshoveled all of their plans. And
could you imagine if you spent 20 years setting yourself up for retirement and your kids in China, and then Trump comes along and he's like, nah, that's going to be worthless in 5 years?
Yeah, that's why they're fighting him so
pissed.
hard. Yeah. I mean, Democrats and Republicans is actually what really pisses me off. It should have been like the election, the last election. That should have been a wake-up call for all Republicans, especially politicians.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was like a clear mandate from a majority of Americans on what should happen. And they're pushing back tooth and nail, and they're still stabbing Donald Trump, his nominations, and like all of his agenda, and what the American people or the electorate actually elected him to do. And
I want to...
no, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to jump to this next story. We got this from the Post Millennial. Alleged ringleader of the plot to attack UFC Freedom 250 with drones and snipers is a foreign national. The DOJ has revealed that among those arrested in the plot is the alleged ringleader, who is not a U.S. citizen. Abraham Hermosillo Alvarez of Omaha, Nebraska, was one of 5 men whose charge was announced by the DOJ on Tuesday afternoon. Alvarez has been charged with conspiracy to commit an offense against the U.S. I just want to pause real quick and say to the post-millennial, you said of Omaha, Nebraska, and also not a U.S. citizen. So let's just call it where he's from. Unless you don't have the information, I get it. The complaint contains no information about Alvarez's immigration status or country of origin. Okay, fine, I can see that. But he consented to a consular notification on Tuesday. It is a requirement in federal court when foreign nationals are arrested to notify the embassy or consulate of the person's home country. It is unclear if Alvarez was in the U.S. legally. I would just say this. All of the people involved, Antifa, are now foreign terrorists and should be treated as such. They should be arrested. Donald Trump needs to launch Kash Patel, an investigation into all of these groups. And don't get me wrong, DHS and FBI has already arrested a lot of these guys, and they probably have investigations. And I'm just saying, go full steam ahead, arrest them all, shut it down. Don't let this stuff fester and grow. Otherwise, we're talking about a possibility of war with China in a few years. Imagine what happens if we go to war with China and we get partisans internally in the U.S. fighting on behalf of China, armed by China.
That's one of the reasons why I don't shed any tears for the Justice Department looking at people like Hassan Piker, right? Like, he's been to China and he endorses that type of government structure. He's doing all he can to undermine the United States, with his rhetoric and stuff. Like, look, if he's working with anyone that has ties to China, I
have no idea why
that
guy, Hassan Piker, I have no idea why he's not on the Tide database.
I mean, he's an anchor baby. He was born here in the U.S., but his family's from Turkey. He's clearly anti-American, and there are allegations that he's got ties to China and Cuba. Probably ties to China, maybe not so much for Cuba, but so it makes perfect sense that the DOJ is looking at him, right?
But I mean, like, that guy should, like, he qualifies to be listed on the Tide database.
What's that exactly?
It's the terrorist watch list. Like, a long time ago, before even he amped up.
Yeah.
Because I know people on the conservative side, they were nominated and put on that for a lot less things they said, and like these type of people, they needs to be nominated and put and be washed, because as soon as you get put on that database, you are washed. Like, you are surveilled 24/7. But the problem is like there is a massive issue with the intelligence agencies, and especially the DOJ and the FBI. Those agencies, I believe, they're too far gone. And the reason why
you think Kash can't clean them up? And
no.
We were talking about this the other day, and we had Tony Ortiz on. He's a good dude. We argued on this one, though. He's mad that Kash hasn't cleaned up the FBI. He thinks Kash isn't doing a good job. And my view is that there's 40,000 FBI personnel. How do you go through that? It's finding a needle in a needle stack. I mean, you can't just fire literally everybody, I suppose.
So you have to address the symptoms. So when I was when I was working for the government, like, we had literally commies. Like, I'm talking about hammer and sickles pictures and communist leaders on their desk and cubicles, and nobody would say anything to them. And a lot of them obviously non-white. So, and I had a conversation with the division chief, and I asked the person, I was like, do you see so-and-so's desk? And it'd be like, Steven, don't even open that. I was like, oh,
really?
Yeah. She'll be like, don't even open that. We'll get investigated and we'll lose our jobs.
Jesus.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she was like, minority, Indian, or whatever. Yeah. And or Arabs. And they don't want to open that. And it's a weak leadership. And what allowed it, can I expand on this?
Yeah.
We have to address the cause and not the symptoms. Those guys, the symptoms of the actual cause. The cause is the attorney class So if you go to usajobs.gov or .com, and that's the main government website where you apply for government jobs, and just put like a lawyer advisory or legal advisory. Those guys, they come in as GS or GG 12, 13, 14 immediately out the door. So they have like some sort of a seniority level. But majority of these legal advisors or lawyers, they set the policy for the agency and whatever agency. And the majority of them, about 95% of them are far left.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, go ahead.
well, the ideological capture of in the United States, it's not just limited to universities. People think of the universities as the place where there's all this ideological capture. The big problem that I think, honestly, the Trump administration is facing is the ideological capture in the bureaucracy, in the FBI, in probably CIA, in all of these institutions, specifically law enforcement institutions, that prevent the administration from not just carrying out the will of the American people, the elected, representative and stuff, but that prevent them from actually making changes to the people in the government. You know,
Yeah, that's what did not happen so far.
Yeah.
Why? Because we still have. If I was actually advising Trump when they first took over, I would have gotten rid of all the lawyers within the government, and I would have actually worked on that. Have majority of the legal advisory for each division or each government agency lined up, and day one I will get rid of the lawyers first. So because those guys, they're going to set the legal policy for everybody, and because those lawyers, they sit with like a division chief, section chiefs, or like an entire agency head, and be like, nope, you're not going to be able to do this. And if you do,
you have to worry about
consequences.
Legislation.
When did you leave?
I got terminated, actually.
When was that?
October 18, 2024.
Apparently, they
before
can
the
frown
election.
around people.
Why did they terminate you?
So, politics.
You wearing a
obviously.
MAGA hat?
Yeah, no. I did not. Even though I was listening to your podcast a lot at the time.
Ooh.
And
I met a guy. I once grabbed dinner with a guy who worked in let's just call it an unnamed intelligence agency, and I asked him like, "What's going on, man? You know, this culture war stuff's crazy." And he told me it's the same inside as it is outside.
yeah, very true. So what happened with me? I was in Germany. I arrived in August 2023. I was sent to become the senior Polad, political advisor for Ukraine. SAGU is actually, that's the mission, Security Assistant Group Ukraine. It's based out of Wiesbaden in Germany. It's a 36 country alliance helping Ukraine with like targeting packets, equipment, supplies, all of that stuff. I get there, immediately I noticed the entire mission is about 1,000 personnel. They have a 3-star general running it, and when I got there, it was a Lieutenant General Agudo, great guy, by the way. And he's got 7 generals, deputies, 7, and that's 1,000 people there, and only 300 of them are Americans. And so it's already heavy top. Super heavy top. It shouldn't be that way. So I was there like a few months into it, and start the Ukrainian colonels that we have, basically the joint duty officers that we have. They were coming up to me, and because I established like a really good relationship with those guys, because my girlfriend at the time is Ukrainian, and so I understood the culture very well. And so they were coming up to me. It was like, "Hey, Stephen, the 10 Bradleys that we received last week, only 3 of them actually working. The other 7 are disabled." And so it was a trend. Same thing with the Abrams tanks. It's about 30% of the equipment that we send them actually operable. The other 70, they need to use their know-how to fix up like 2 other 3 to get them to work. And the rest, it would be like just whatever spare parts, like armor, tracks, whatever. So I raised that question, and I put a bullseye on my head. His deputy chief of staff, basically, one of his general deputies, chief of staff, and he's still active, actually, in the Air Force National Guard. He's 2-star, actually, got rewarded for his malfeasance.
So what are they doing? They're stealing money or what?
No, so basically we were sending them equipments that not operable, and we were writing it off as operable.
For what reason?
Because we can charge, so Congress can allocate full price for replacements.
So they got rid of you.
Yeah, so it's a money scheme. It's a money scheme for like money scheme within the United States, not the Ukrainian.
Right.
Yeah.
My question with all of this, and your experience in intelligence, is do you see, based on these rifts internally? You said you don't know if you can salvage these. Do you see a possibility of civil war?
Where?
In the United States.
In the United States, it's very possible. Actually, it worries me. It worries me to the point where I thought about relocating elsewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Peter Thiel went to Argentina, and it was specifically over the state of affairs in the United States. A lot of liberals then made the comment, they're like, oh, interesting choice for country. But I think, yeah, when you look at the left in this country, with this, we've got the story of this guy. They were trying to massacre civilians at the White House. And I warn all of you, this is just the beginning.
There's no end to this.
Oh, it's a generation raised on being told Trump must be stopped by any means necessary. And we are now starting to see these guys, a lot of them, 19 years old. 2 years ago, what do you think they're doing? They're playing video games, but they're watching all this MS Now garbage. Guys, holy crap. We got, Josh, he puts on the multi-screen news so we can watch Fox, CNN, MS Now, and ESPN, because you got to put the sports in there, otherwise you lose your mind, right? And wow, MS Now comes on, and they may as well, like, if I was going to describe MS Now to somebody, I'd say the news starts with 3 people screaming at the top of their lungs, looking at each other, and that's all they're doing. The things they were saying were just absolutely nonsensical. Trump's planning to kill a bunch of people. Then they bring up Trump ruined the reflecting pool, and he's wasting all of our money, and Trump is bad. Literally every other word out of their mouth is Trump, and I'm like, if you watch this, your brain is jelly. Now, what if you're 10 years old, and your mom's got it on the TV, and you're watching it, and she's saying, Trump's a fascist, he's Hitler, the world's going to end. Then you turn 19. When we see these young guys, it's because it's their first real opportunity. One of these kids, according to the arrest report, the court documents, used his graduation money to buy the weapons to prepare for this. Right. These guys are young. They don't have means yet. So I want to stress this to all the guys out there. I'm going to give you some hopium, and I'm going to give you some black pill right there. The truth is, and I was saying this last week, if you are smart and hardworking, eventually you just get rich. And I don't mean you're going to be a billionaire. Not everybody gets there. I don't mean you're going to be a millionaire. I'm saying that you will have money. You will find out one day you'll be like 30 years old, and you'll be like, I'm making $150K a year. That's kind of crazy. How did I get? You'll think about every step you've taken, because you inherit the marketplace. So you're a young guy. What job can you get? Low skill. You're going to work at a fast food restaurant, maybe, or
I have an
a grocery
advice
store.
for young people.
But I just want to say, so when you're 16, you say, I'm going to get my first job. Who's going to hire you at 16? Moving rocks, lifting rocks, breaking rocks. Maybe you'll make $20 a day. But when you turn 20, now you've already done those entry-level jobs, and you're applying for assistant manager or even manager positions when you're 20, 22 years old. You might now be making $30,000 a year. When I was 23, I got my 23. No. I'm sorry. I would have been I was 23 years old. I got a job for $35,000 a year. Not the greatest, but at the time I was like, dang. I was like, I actually taking home a couple grand every other week. That's more money than I pay my rent. I was like, now I have money. So a guy who's 19 and it's handed $3,000, he goes, I can buy a gun now. So if you're thinking about what comes next and when it comes, it's when these young guys are now entering the labor force where they can make a little bit more money, where they can afford vehicles and weapons. And then you're going to start seeing real bad stuff. One of these guys with $1,000, he can buy a drone. Now we're in trouble. And we've got a generation of these psychopaths, these lunatics. And what do you do about it?
I actually have a solution for this, and I hope people actually listens to this and take my advice, especially if you have a teenager kid fixing to go to college and whatnot. My advice: send your kid to college, get them education, and flood the government system with conservative, hardworking people, because you have to offset the government workforce. The mentality of go out there, work hard, be creative, and make money, you're not going to have that if the socialist Marxist completely take over. I mean, I lived through Saddam Hussein. I saw my uncle getting hung in Abu Ghraib at the age of 7. And I know what they can do. And they confiscated our entire family's wealth. And so that mentality of the past, it's not going to work in the near future. So we need to shift from that, and we need to have your kids, or if you are able or willing to go work for the government, go ahead. We need to flood the government system with patriots, somebody who's actually loyal to the Constitution, and not going to go crazy and completely shift the system. Because if they're going to if they completely take over, yeah, we're screwed.
We were talking about this last night. If the Democrats were to take the House, the Senate, and the office of the president in the next presidential election, they will push through all of the things they've talked about. They will make D.C. and Puerto Rico a state. They will do mail-in ballots from everywhere, just from everywhere in the country, where they'll mail ballots out. They'll do ballot harvesting. They'll do all the stuff that they've done in California. They'll do it nationwide, and then it's over. There will be no chance for the Republicans or conservatives to actually win an election, just because of the way that the Democrats
and legally push back.
Yeah. And that's the thing, that it'll be a situation where like colloquially, it will be that they've rigged the system, right? But it will all be done legally. They will be changing the laws. And so Democrats and people that favor that type of system will be saying, well, then win an election and change the law. I mean, we had a guy here the other night, Brian Shapiro, and that was his response. We talked about what was going on in California. We explained why it was actually, the laws had been changed, and it was essentially what people would consider rigged elections for the Democrats. And he was like, well, it's not rigged, it's legal. It's like, look, we understand that they have changed the laws, but he wouldn't move on past the idea that, well, it's all legal, so it's not rigged. You can set the laws up in a way that only one party can win, or it makes it easy to finesse the votes, the ballots, in a way so that way only one party can win. And just because it's legal doesn't mean that it isn't fixed.
Legitimate.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's legitimate.
A rigged economy. The Federal Reserve fiat currency system is rigged. It was rigged in 1913, and then I guess we went off the gold standard. I don't know how to get out of that.
When you say
that
rigged,
issue has literally nothing to do with the problems we face anymore.
Yeah,
certainly
the economy is the biggest issue.
No, it's
so.
not.
Maybe 30 years ago, when we were trying to figure out how do we succeed, how do you grow, how do you develop, and we had this problem where there's an elite class that can control the flow of money, can manipulate the money supply, and it's always to their benefit. Certainly, that's an issue. That system's on the verge of collapse right now because you have a generation of psychotic communists who are trying to massacre everybody. It doesn't matter if you can control the financial system if someone's going to come and blow it up.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if it's just the reason is because communists have power. I think that system was built to blow up.
Well, that's not what I said. What I'm saying is that we have a generation ideologically indoctrinated, and they believe that the U.S. government needs to be burned to the ground. You are not going to finance your way out of that problem. You're not going to manipulate currency out of that problem. In fact, if you weaken the economy, these people go even crazier because now they can't buy food. You strengthen the economy, you don't erase their ideology. Trump could institute policy that cuts taxes for the middle class, and they'll just lie and claim he's cutting taxes for the rich. Oh, wait, they're doing that nonstop. And Matthew Iglesias famously tweeted in Trump's first term that it was a major success that progressives were able to convince regular Americans that they did not get a tax break when they actually did. So, again, you can help people. You can restore their access to the markets. You can improve their lives. It doesn't matter because they're ideologically driven.
I think the economy's rigged beyond relief. I don't
Again, but that doesn't change the fact that you have people who think the moon is made of cheese and want to blow up, some NASA for it.
And to your comments on the economy being rigged, if that were the case, then people would be consistently in the underclass and they wouldn't have a way out. People are consistently there is more economic mobility in the United States than any other country. It's not as easy as it has been in the past, but you can work hard and pull yourself out of poverty. It happens every single day. And so at least the way that I'm understanding you say rigged, it would imply, or the way that I'm understanding it, is you can't do that.
No, it was,
and that's not the case.
It was changed to legally be the way it is. So you'd be like, well, the economy is totally legal. It's fiat.
No. I'm not. I'm not talking about legality.
This is a really good point.
I'm not talking about
Ian is perfectly exemplifying exactly what I've been talking about in terms of civil war and generational conflict. Ian comes from a generation where the principal issue the protesters, the dissidents had was the Federal Reserve. Today, these people couldn't care less. You can go to that guy and say the Federal Reserve, and he's going to say, but Trump's Hitler. And you're going to say, but they're controlling the economy. And he's going to say, but Trump's Hitler.
I watched that in real time, man. The Occupy Wall Street.
You are
was all about
fighting
the
a
Federal
fight
Reserve.
no one is fighting anymore, and no one cares about.
I wouldn't say nobody. Ron Paul, it bless his 92-year-old heart.
Exactly my point.
But
now
it's not
go
nobody.
ask any of these young people who are trying to massacre civilians, who are killing Trump supporters in the street, like Aaron Danielson. Ask those far leftists about the Federal Reserve, and they'll go, the what?
I actually had a conversation with what she described herself revolutionary. And, I got an inside look on how they think. Actually, they don't care about what you just said, the economy. They want complete, total power. And I had an extended conversation with that lady, and I hope at some point she wakes up, snaps, and wakes up to reality.
Maybe when she's in a gulag.
Yeah.
Right.
And she flat out told me, she was like, I'm part of a revolutionary group in Colorado, and they are more than willing to do very terrible things to wield power.
The leaders of these groups come from wealthy families.
Yeah.
During Occupy Wall Street, the people you're talking about were trust fund kids. I know them personally. They were stealing from the coffers. They were putting the money in their pockets, and they had apartments. They didn't sleep in the park. They were notoriously trust fund kids, or they were funded by NGOs. These people did not actually care about the economy. They exploited the outrage to foment a communist revolution, exemplified by the fact that Occupy Wall Street was initially started as Empire State Rebellion, anger over political corruption and bailouts, and then leftists came in, pushed out the conservatives and libertarians, turned it into a communist movement, and then every demand became something weird about ending capitalism, and they'd march around chanting anticapitalista, despite the fact that the first weekend I'm there's an elderly couple, conservative, libertarian-leaning, sitting on a couch with an American flag behind them, and their complaint was the government is corrupt, not that capitalism was bad. Trust fund kids and NGOs came in and cut these people out intentionally, lied about people, accused them of being scammers, and then took over the infrastructure, siphoned away all the money, and said, this is about ending capitalism.
Yeah, I actually, you're correct. And also, a lot of people think these Marxists actually, they're coordinating on signal chats and whatnot. Yeah, there's some truth to that, but there's actually other group chats.
I'll tell you my favorite moment from Occupy Wall Street.
Go ahead.
It actually was not Occupy Wall Street. It was the Trayvon Martin protest. So After Trayvon Martin dies in this scuffle with Zimmerman, you get the emergence of the Black Lives Matter movement. And like we always see with the communists and the Marxists, they are not here for whatever your cause claims to be, economics, Federal Reserve, or otherwise.
Just want to hijack
Black
it.
Lives Matter. They are looking for large groups of dissidents to destabilize the government. So this was an amazing moment. The organizers of one of the original Black Lives Matter protests for Trayvon Martin said, we're going to march to one police plaza in New York. And we are going to let the police know we are upset about stop and frisk and police brutality. And they marched down Broadway. And then something really amazing happened. Large groups of people just follow the person in front of them. The organizers of this event were genuinely trying to organize a march to the police department. The quote unquote facilitators, the tourists we call them, the Marxists, all it takes is one or two people in front of a crowd to turn, and that whole crowd will turn. One of the funniest things I experienced at all these Occupy marches, they're marching down the street, and there'll be journalists in front of them taking pictures, and then like 4 or 5 journalists will turn left because they want to get to the side of the march to take shots of it passing by. But the people marching in front don't know this and think those people are walking the direction we're supposed to go. So they turn with the journalists, and then 2,000 people all turned on a side street, and it's just bedlam. So during this protest, Occupy Wall Street, well, I shouldn't even call them Occupy Wall Street because they were just Marxists, run to the front of the group. And then as the original organizers, with their approved route by the police, are pointing left, the Marxist people get in front and go like this and pull them back. The whole crowd ignores the original organizers and marches with the Marxists to Wall Street, where they jump on the bull and start screaming and complaining once again about capitalism and the U.S. government. That's what these people
tactics.
do.
Yeah, typical tactics. Do you know what's funny? Back then, remember like the MySpace and Tagged? Remember
The website itself?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
MySpace.
Yeah, that's how they used to organize back then. Those Marxists. They used to use those websites actually.
Yeah, it's easy.
What year was that exactly? Were you
2012.
2012?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was here in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this was when was Trayvon Martin? Well, it was like
2012.
It was like, what was it, like late? It was like
I can Google it to find exactly.
Yeah, because the initial economic collapse, the economy when...
okay, no, it was early 2012. Yeah, it was like early 2012 when these protests were happening. And I'm just sitting there, I'm filming, I was live streaming, and I'm watching all of these communists scream anticapitalista, and I busted a gun, I'm laughing. And the original organizers are freaking out, like, what's happening? And I'm like, you dumb college kids have no idea what you are involved in. You posted on Facebook, you wanted to protest police brutality, stop and frisk, and all this stuff, and you let the Marxists in. And they took your event from you, and they broke the rules because the original protest was like a permitted march with the police approval of the route they were going to go. And the Marxists were like, nope. And then they just went to the bull and romped around to Wall Street.
The funniest thing, the irony of this whole stop and frisk and whatnot, if you look at the Marxists, they took over like in Portland and whatnot. They set up their own checkpoints. They were doing the same thing they complained about, protesting.
Yep. Well, I love this. I love this.
It devolves into vanguardism. Every time they think they want something where there is no government and everyone owns everything together, it turns into a small group of people taking control. For a short period of time, they promise, and then like Stalin's regime or Mao's regime, they stay in power, or Kim Jong-un's regime.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like growing up under Saddam. It was like these people are vicious. Saddam Hussein was a Marxist socialist dictator, non-theistic. The religion was just there, but he was actually not a religious guy. That's why any hardliner religion person, doesn't matter whether it was Muslim, Sunni, or Shiite, they were gone, killed. He killed 16 people out of our family. Assassinated my uncle.
Awful.
Yeah, dude. It was terrible. Yeah, 16 people altogether. That's why, and kicked half of my dad's family into Iran because their great grandmother was born over there, So everybody from that side of family got kicked out of Iraq in 1979, and their wealth was confiscated by the government. So, yeah, I mean, like, people think, and I don't think these markets, like majority of them, those kids, they know exactly what they want to do. They want to have complete power. And hopefully soon I'll be able to, I'm compiling a list of other Chinese group chat, like Discord and stuff like that. But there's actually other global chat groups that young people are using. And hopefully I'll put it out there on X. If you want to check out my X, is Aladdin with double L, double D.
I want to, if you're finished with your point, we'll move to.
No, I'll be posting it hopefully in the next week.
I want to jump to this next story, which is a Kalshi market, because there is a 30% share in the prediction market that the U.S. will confirm that aliens exist before 2029, 22% that it'll be before 28. Now, before 2027 is dropping, which is stupid because we're in 2027, so before would have been 2026, but I get the point they're making. They mean by the end of 2027. It's dropped down as the year has gone on, but for the life of me, I am absolutely surprised. When this market first emerged, it was at like 10%, and I called it free money. I called it free money because I'm like, there is zero chance that the U.S. is going to confirm that aliens exist. Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson has come out, and he dares the government to just show the alien as disclosure fervor continues to grow. At this point, I actually think it's free money to bet on it, that they're going to, because I'm not saying that aliens exist, but at this point, they have propped it up in the media to such a degree, it really does seem like they will come out and claim aliens are real. The funny thing is, the market resolves to yes if they confirm aliens exist, but literally Trump could be like, aliens are real, and they're like, confirmed. Is that not nonsensical?
This whole Kalshi, I mean, this is my opinion, Kalshi is nonsensical. I think the whole online betting thing about I can see what the outcome, I can influence the outcome, I can bet on it myself. And then
That's not allowed, actually.
Of course, it's not supposed to be, but
It's not that it's not supposed to be, it's that it's actually not allowed.
Right, but you can do it through channels, and it's just
again, my complaint about the betting market stuff is the illegality of individuals purchasing things that they don't set, like that they didn't offer to sell in the first place, or like the argument is Kalshi saying that, not necessarily Kalshi, but the claim that's circulated that it's insider trading and a crime. If an individual in my instance, the example we gave, Kalshi has a betting market that I will be at a press briefing this year. And if I told someone I was going to go and they bought that I was going and then I went, that's insider trading. But I'm like, hey, I'm not selling these. You can't put that on me that I told Ian and then Ian said I wanted to buy it. And they say, well, Ian should know better than to buy it because you told him. So if I go out to a diner and then I just, hey, everybody, small time diner, I see there's about 7 customers. I will be at the White House tomorrow. Thank you. And I say, it's not public. It's all not that's an absurdity. Now, as for the function of futures markets, I don't care. People can buy what they want to buy. The question here is, why are there so many people that are confident that the U.S. is going to do this? More importantly, I suppose the answer could be if Donald Trump just went on TV right now and said aliens are real and then walked away, it resolves to yes. Is that confirmation? How do you confirm aliens are real?
I don't bet. I actually never gambled in my life, but this might be something I'm gonna do.
At this point, I think I got to be honest. I genuinely believe the U.S. is going to claim that aliens exist at some point.
This is a no-brainer.
You're saying that they will do it.
I think they will finagle it into a way where they use a crafted word where they make you think they confirmed they are.
Right.
But actually it's a non-confirmation.
Well, this is the challenge with Kalshi. It says it resolves to yes if the president, any member of the cabinet, any member of the Joint Chiefs, any U.S. federal agency definitively states that extraterrestrial life or technology exists before January 20th, 2029. Outcome verified from the executive branch of the U.S. government. So you mean to tell me if Trump just says aliens are real, that's all that will satisfy this? That doesn't prove they're real. Doesn't confirm anything.
And you can actually legally challenge it too. And Because if that's their parameter, and just because a president comes out and says they do exist without actually showing any type of proof,
Yeah.
you can
It's like a
legally
hot
challenge.
mic.
Well, this is crazy. So I'm not going to buy. Look, $1,000 wins you $3,000, right?
Jeez.
Okay, here's what I'll do. I know a lot of people in federal agencies. So it's got to be the executive branch. It can't come from anywhere else. Now we're getting weird here. Why can't a member of Congress be like, I went to a skiff. They said don't say anything, but I'm going to tell you. Why is that not confirmation? It's got to be the executive branch. Okay. So if I can find somebody who they have to actively be in the executive branch,
Probably, because that would if they're not actively in the
then it's not a
not
formal
currently, then
U.S.
they're not.
declaration.
Yeah, then they're not the form.
Do you think aliens are real?
I don't believe aliens are real.
You don't think so?
No.
But you think they'll at least say they are?
Yeah, I think they're gonna use. I think they're gonna use. They're gonna use a very crafted, manipulative word to make you assume they said they confirmed it, but they did not technically, and they're gonna run with it as yep. See, this is a confirmation.
They did aliens.gov, so there's like
Well, what
they kind of
constitutes an alien?
Yeah, and
They
aliens.gov
be
was for
extraterrestrial.
illegal aliens.
I know, but they didn't say that ahead of time. They kind of
Right.
teased it, and you're like, "What?" And the green and the black, and they're like, "I mean, exactly, Carter. Good question, because bacterial life in Martian ice is not. I mean, that is alien life.
Technically.
I mean, yeah, technically they are, but like, I mean, I'm talking about like for me, alien, like you're talking about, like it's either like some sort of a being, yeah, either like ET alike or like a doppelganger, yeah, like me somewhere, probably in the universe, which I highly doubt that.
I mean, I mean, my opinion on this is it's probable that there is other life out there in the universe. The universe is a real big place. I think it's highly unlikely that there have been aliens that have visited Earth. Not that it's not possible, but the way that we understand physics now, at least as far as I understand it, everything that I hear is you can't travel faster than the speed of light. And if you can't travel faster than the speed of light, the distances that we have to be crossed to go from a different star system to ours are just too great. Again, it's possible, but massive objects can't travel at the speed of light.
Maybe a different galaxy. They have maybe another like a star, sun, and stars around it, and planets, but not in this galaxy.
I don't know. I mean, even this galaxy, like the galaxy is again a real big place. There are billions and billions of stars. It seems that most stars have planets around them as well. As far as the latest information that I've seen watching YouTube videos, there's a lot of planets. But getting here, crossing those distances, if there is some other new physics that are discovered that allow for either some kind of way to travel through space faster than the speed of light or to bend space or some kind of wormhole thing, if that's possible, fine, then I would revisit
again,
my stuff. But
we've already talked about this.
well, yeah, I mean,
That would be
we
like-
talked about aliens too.
That would be like in the year 1500, someone being like, I'll believe that the natives can come from California when their boats can sail on land. And then they're all laughing, being like, but boats can't sail on land.
Well, that's
the argument that aliens would have to abide by some primitive technology that we know of is it's
they don't have to abide by primitive technology,
But the idea that they need to bend
they do
space-
have to abide by the laws of physics.
Again, my point is, why would aliens need to bend or travel faster than light if they have access to technologies and fundamental forces we don't understand or haven't discovered?
Again, that's why I say if there's new physics discovered, then I'd revisit this opinion. My point is that the way we understand things now, I'm not saying that we can't learn new things. I'm saying that the way we understand things now, we do have a pretty firm grasp of physics. But if there's new stuff that's discovered, hey, I'm all for
Well,
it.
even
yeah,
now,
me
like
too.
an
I'm
Einstein-Rosen bridge is theoretically possible.
So how far
possible.
how far Mars from the sun?
Distance-wise,
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. I know it's a 3-month trip or so,
Light-wise, it's what, 30 minutes or something?
probably something like that.
Well, that's why they say if there were aliens, they would definitely be
so,
more
how far-
intelligent than us. So that's how they would get here with technology we don't know about.
How far Mars from the end of our galaxy?
142 million miles.
So how far?
13 minutes 13 minutes. Wow, I thought it was 30. 13 minutes for light to travel to Mars.
So how far Mars from the to the end of our galaxy?
Oh,
End of our galaxy.
substantially.
Well, our galaxy's 100,000. Which side? I mean, our galaxy's about 100,000 light years across.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, you're talking about our galaxy?
Yeah,
That's just astronomical numbers.
yeah. I'm not a physicist, to be honest with you. I was never good at that subject, but I think what Elon is doing is not actually occupying Mars to build a population over there. I think they're using it as a staging station to go to the next phase.
Of course.
So
Yeah,
Earth-
of course.
Yeah.
The Artemis project was to do the same thing on the moon. By launching a bunch of stuff to the moon, you can set it all up there, and then it's much easier to. When you're on the moon, it's a lot easier to launch to Mars and other celestial bodies. One of the
Especially
challenges,
the gravity.
because of the gravity, but also because of timing. One of the challenges with going to the moon or Mars is that I think the Mars window is at once every 2 years. The position, like, so you think
Yeah.
about where the sun is, you think about where Mars, you think where the Earth is. You can't do it. You got to wait until Mars and the Earth are close enough together that you can actually
Launch, yeah.
And in fact, the thing is with a launch to Mars, we're actually leading the target. So you're launching from Earth and you're traveling this way, and then you intercept with Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So it's let's see.
Earth is 26,000 light years from the center of the universe, or I'm sorry, from the center of the galaxy. The galaxy is about 100,000 light years across. So if you're going to the close edge, it's about 25,000 light years away. If you're going to the far edge through the center,
So-
it's going to be about 75.
Mars is between 147 and 177 quadrillion miles from the edge of the galactic disk. Yep. Oh, wait. No, that's wrong. It's substantially greater than that. That's what I thought. Wait, what? Oh, no. Yeah, it is quadrillion. It is quadrillion. Yeah.
If I had a signal here, probably my group chats would be. I have a bunch of nerds.
So I don't think that again, when I think about aliens and extraterrestrial intelligence and life, I don't presume that they're traveling through space. Again, that even the idea of sailing on land, sailing technology is actually still very, 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 very close in time. In the last 100 years, a lot of technology, most of our advanced technologies in the last 100 or so years.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of how long it was from the first flight to landing on the moon. The first flight was in like 1918 or something like that. Was Kitty Hawk?
No, 19. I think it was 1912.
1912. So
Yeah, the Wright
1912 to 1969, and they landed on the moon, right?
Yeah,
If you believe
that's
it.
that's a very short.
Yeah, that's instantaneous when it comes to geological times.
Electricity, man. We cracked some sort of code, some sort of universal code with electricity. We'd probably done it before as a species and lost it, but I don't know if probably is the right word.
Yeah, electric power. It's very interesting. Electric is very mysterious. I still believe there's a project DARPA is working on electric, and they believe it's got a lot more secret than what we already discovered. So
I wouldn't be surprised if they actually do have anti-gravity. We've talked to Ashton Forbes quite a bit about this stuff.
Yeah, Jeremy Riss also.
And I think that I would not be surprised at all if they had anti-grav stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised. That was something I was never exposed to be honest with you. There are so many compartmented projects out there. There's like thousands of them that I was not right on to. So I just know what I was exposed to on the information. Like if you guys know, do you know what the yellow side is?
What is that?
It's the TSSCI side. It's basically a token-based a login. You don't plug in anything to the computer. It's all digital, and it allows you to access the top secret side. But the thing is like basically on your token certificate, what authorizes you based on your position, what access you have, and what information you be able to see. And a lot of times people they see this is from the CIA wires, which is the CIA website. Let me click and see what the CIA is saying. They can't open it. Why? Because their certificate does not allow them because they're not right on to that particular thing. So That's a lot of things people don't know.
What made you think about that specifically?
About what?
About the certificate effect?
No, it's a certificate access. It's a token. It's a digital token that you have, and it's based on your job description and position, and what you read on, and that's what allows you to only get exposed to what you're authorized to expose to.
They call it like a need to know. They call it secret compartmentalized information, but it's just making sure that nobody.
Like you'll see reports, and you click on it, and it won't open for you. Why? Because you don't have the permission to open it. And you go to your boss, who was like, "Hey, why I can't access this?" And be like, "Yeah, dummy, because you don't have access to it."
Yeah, you can have a top secret clearance, but not have like
Access to
for
everything,
This particular thing, they only let you know the stuff that you need to know.
Yeah. And it was the same case with me and everybody else, by the way. Yeah.
I mean, I imagine the only person that has like universal clearance is like the president and maybe the I don't even know if the Joint Chiefs would either though.
The Joint Chief will have it. DNI will have it.
Yeah.
There's very few people that will have access to everything if they request information on it. Because most of them, I promise you, they know nothing about half of the programs that we're already working on. Why? Because nobody tells them they exist. But if they hear about it and be like, hey, I want every information on that, they're legally obligated to actually provide all the information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to keep things secret. You got to keep the fewer people that know something, the more likely you are to keep it secret. Loose lips sink ships, man.
Yeah, that's why it's really funny when people are like committing crimes with their buddies. They almost always get caught because someone blabs.
Also, why you should not leave anything in plain sight in your car when you park out in the city, especially.
That is
because police can claim they thought it was something else and use it as probable cause to enter your vehicle.
People are very less likely to break it if they don't know anything's there to steal.
Oh, I was just saying that a cop can pull you over and then claim that they see something in the back of the car in plain view that appears to be illegal, and then use that as pretext to search your vehicle. And then you get to argue in court whether he was right or wrong.
At that point, they already have the information.
Yeah. There was a story a long time ago. There was a murderer. He was a suspect. And he gets pulled over for a cop sees him driving and knows he's a murder suspect, so he pulls him over. When he walks up to the car, he sees in the back seat what appears to be like rope and duct tape and like stuff used for murder, and this maybe blood. So he immediately pulls the guy out, and then they come and they search the vehicle. They find evidence. They say you're under arrest, and his lawyers immediately say the stop was illegal. There was no pretext to pull him over. So any evidence gained from that after the fact is fruit of the poison tree. Exclusionary rule out. Yep. And he got away with it. Yeah. I don't know exactly what happened. I was reading about this a long time ago. But there you go. You know.
Yeah. I mean, if the government want to go after you, they can claim anything, and it's up to you to prove your innocence. And it's basically, we see it all the time happens. They did it to me, how they got rid of me. And it's basically, they claim a bunch of things they cannot prove, but they can put it on paper. And yeah, good luck, Stephen, finding a lawyer and fighting us, because it will cost you at least $50,000 that you don't have.
And the process is the punishment.
The process is the punishment.
That's one of the things that we talk about a lot around here. The idea of the government deciding that they want to go after you. They don't have to have a lot of information. They have to be able to present it to a grand jury and convince a grand jury. And there's an old saying: you can get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. So and then once you're indicted, then you have to prove your innocence. It's gonna be all over press,
millions of dollars, especially if it's a federal case. Yeah. I mean, I can talk about how they went after me. I don't know if you want to.
Let's jump to this one. We'll get one more in there. We got some Mediaite. Joe Rogan claims multiple U.S. presidents directly contacted Spotify in an effort to get his show taken down. This is wild. He was joined by Chase Hughes in the Joe Rogan Experience. He says, it was almost easy for me because I got in such a head start about his show during the pandemic. Rogan's talk about COVID vaccines and his criticism of lockdowns and health experts led to plenty of blowback from critics. In the video, he discussed getting COVID, fighting it off with a cocktail of drugs, including ivermectin. Around the time of the CNN controversy, Rogan said PACs and other groups were contacting sponsors and Spotify to derail his show. Thank God I was on Spotify, and thank God Spotify is not an American company. And also it helped that I was number one in like 90 countries and not number 90 in one country. That helped a lot. I can't even talk about it, but there was presidents involved and former presidents involved. They were contacting Spotify. Oh, yeah, trying to get me removed for vaccine misinformation.
I imagine
And it turned out to be right, all of it. Not a single person apologized.
I imagine by presidents and former presidents, he means Barack Obama and Joe Biden.
Indeed.
I know for a fact there were other prime ministers.
Yeah.
And around the
Makes
globe,
sense.
they went after him.
Yeah.
They did the same thing to Tate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Andrew Tate.
Yeah. There was
Over
the fake
vaccine stuff? Or
no, the fake allegations. They
Oh, yeah.
they said that like
That's
I mean,
crazy.
yeah. I mean, everybody knows Andrew Tate what he's doing. He's got this website. He runs this operation, but like the whole
Trafficking thing.
trafficking thing and whatnot. It was all cooked up by a certain government actually, and
By which government?
a certain government. I don't know. Yeah, mention it, and yeah, probably we could talk about it.
I assume it was the U.S. government, the U.K. government.
Maybe, and a particular foreign minister.
It's pretty crazy now that we've gone over the data from Stanford showing that myocarditis in men 30 and under was 1 in 16,750, which is extremely high. That is not a rare side effect. That is, with the amount of doses they gave, substantial. And we would have got taken off the air if we brought that up. In fact, at the time, they said, no, COVID is causing myocarditis, not the vaccine, which was a lie. Then we got the study from Nature, published in Nature, scientific journal, that the mRNA doesn't stay in the injection site. It travels around. And if it got into your liver, it would make you more susceptible to COVID. You'd more likely to get sick. So the opposite of what a vaccine is supposed to do.
Do you know what's funny? At the time when COVID happened, our division had access to HHS classified information. And because it was tied into, a lot of it was tied into Chinese research that we were looking at. So we had access to it. And right after the claims of COVID was basically made in China and all that stuff, the vaccine, they, like that, strip all the access away. Even though it was still relevant for the stuff we were doing, combating Chinese influence and stuff like that within our division. They strip our access to anything related to vaccines.
Really?
Wow.
And certain companies. And so I immediately knew what it was.
So was COVID intended to be a bioweapon, or was it just reckless gain-of-function research that
I believe it was a targeted operation.
you think it was like, but was it released on purpose?
Yeah.
You think COVID was released on purpose? Was it to stop Trump?
Well, there's multiple reasons. It's
So
not
the earth can heal?
No. So it goes back to the whole communist stuff and their complete power. And it was a successful test run on how compliant people can be.
Yeah. The U.S. was fairly split, but I think like Europe, they dropped to their knees.
Yeah. And it was a very successful test run. And so now they know where they at.
Right. One of the theories was that, we've also talked about AI. There's a conspiracy theory that COVID was actually an AI test run, that there's the artificial superintelligence already exists. The reason why these companies are spending so much on building data centers despite being unprofitable is because the superintelligence commands it, so they just do. And that the intention of the pandemic and the lockdowns was to test the power that the superintelligence would have over the global population. Now, you can just remove artificial superintelligence and say various communist governments or authoritarians. It still works, right?
I mean, they've been working on the COVID-19. I mean, the coronavirus has been out there for a while. We've been working on it and messing with it. But the COVID-19, I was able to trace the first government contracting document or government spending. It was back in, I think, if you check my X and just put like COVID-19, you'll see the USA spending funding I posted. I think it was like a Department of Defense at the time, which Department of War. But yeah, you'll see it over there. So yeah, I was able to, like, the first documented document, I guess, or documentation on COVID-19 specifically was either 2011, 2012. I was able to find. I'm pretty sure a lot of it, if there been doing gain of function on COVID-19 specifically before then, it's probably the documents are destroyed because what would happen.
Yep.
So the big data merge in 2016, it was during the Trump administration. Most of the classified information used to be in like shelves, like literally, like from all the way until start digitizing stuff and mid 2000s or early 2000s. And so during the Trump administration in 2016, they passed a law that every agency, they have to digitize everything and put it in a digital form. But a lot of agencies did not do a good job. And especially they got away if they wanted to do shenanigans and get rid of some.
Yeah, put them all in burn bags, hide them somewhere in the building.
Yeah. Do you know what actually a burn bag is?
What is it?
It's they call it a burn bag. It's actually a weekly classified information burn event. So
Oh, yeah, you got to get rid of all the documents, right?
Yeah, it's a once a week, and like anything marked like secret, top secret, and whatever extra classification, SP or whatever, to it, and it's controlled by the security officer, and so anything classified needs to be dumped. You put it here, and we'll go outside, have fun, and burn it together. And
That's
so
fun.
that's basically what it is.
Get the marshmallows.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's what the burn bag.
When they do burn bags, like, is it just paper stuff? Is it just getting rid of like documents that were printed out? Because obviously they're not getting it out of the computers, right?
Yeah. So that's one of the things that was frustrating in the federal government. People communicated. It was like, hey, team meeting next week. Or like team lunch next week, and they send it as top secret information. Like trillions of documents or emails like that.
Well, look, Rick's been putting on pounds lately, and you guys are going to get
it's
burritos
marked.
again.
Yeah,
He
it's
didn't want
marked.
anybody to know.
You know,
what I
they
mean?
keep
Someone
those
could find out. His wife could find out. He comes back home. The wife's like, "Where'd you get lunch?" Oh, it's kind of classified. I can't talk about these things.
No, so technically, if as long as marked, whatever classification is like not unclassified, and you cannot talk about it.
Does everybody in the office have the same clearance?
No.
So, like, someone next to you might have like lower clearance.
Yeah.
Would anything ever happen where, like, let's say, like, what are the clearance levels? What are the?
Okay, so if you're in if a SCIF requires top secret,
Yeah.
you can't have somebody with a secret clearance.
So what are the levels? So they're secret, top secret.
So for the Department of Defense, NSA, CIA, it's confidential. So public trust, confidential, secret, top secret, and top secret SCI.
So let's say like Ian is only secret. He can't read top secret.
No.
So like let's say we're all in the same office. There could be like two guys top secret and one guy secret.
Yeah, and if a topic would be touching top secret information,
You can't.
I'll be asking Ian. It was like, hey, you need to step outside for this.
Was there ever an instance where like some guy sitting there and then you go, hey, I'm gonna send you this file, and then you open it up. It's top secret. You look at it and then you look at Ian. You start laughing. You point at him, and then the other guy's laughing at him. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then he goes, "Hey, man, what do you guys say? Oh, it's top secret, bro. You don't have clearance."
It may or may not happen.
You could insult
confirm or
coworkers, and they
deny.
can't legally look at what you said.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Top secret insult.
Yep, top secret insult. And actually leadership violate that policy all the time.
I'm sure.
Yeah, especially in
And I'm sure they classified things that didn't need to be classified.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was like we're talking about lunch, and it was like TSSCI. It was
Where
like,
you guys going?
what the
It's
hell?
classified.
Well, look, listen. Because look. Ian doesn't have the top secret, and if we're talking about lunch and we mention we're getting, Chipotle, he's going to be like, yo, can I come? And we're going to go, oh, jeez. And you don't want to be a dick. So you just keep that stuff above his classification, and then he's like, "What you guys talking about? Oh, it's just top secret stuff. We're gonna have to ask you to leave.
How many
Let's
drinks
go
you
get
have
Chipotle. Let's go. No Ian.
No, Ian. Where are you guys going to lunch? It's a need-to-know basis only.
And you don't need to know. Let's grab your guys' Rumble rants and super chats. Smash the like button, share the show, all that good stuff. We got a doozy of a uncensored show for you guys. I want to talk to you about some very serious stuff, but we're going to keep this one the uncensored show. It's a conspiracy. We'll just call it that. So that'll be up at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. All right. Paige says, tell Aladdin Page said to tell the camel joke. He'll know. Are you allowed to, or is that an uncensored show thing?
Oh no, yeah. So by the way, shout out to Paige and the Notorious Lounge. That's a group chat they added me to, and turned out to be like a bunch of group of people. They're pretty funny. So the camel joke, basically, I was make it pretty quick. I was doing a training in Morristown, Tennessee, a small town at the time, 2011, and it's just mom and pop restaurant. And anyway, this old guy, about 65, 70 maybe, and he looked at me. I was smoking Camel because I smoke cigarettes and I smoke Camels, and he's smoking Marlboro Red. And he looked at me. I was like, "What you smoking Camel for, boy?" I told him I don't forget where I come from. I thought he will understand the joke, and flew right by the bartender at the time. She was like, she dropped dead on the floor, laughing her ass off. And like 4 minutes later, we're laughing, and I was like, "I'm from Baghdad." It made it even more funny. He had no idea what Baghdad is. I was like, "Baghdad, Iraq, like the war we having?" And he had like zero clue where that is. Zero clue. And I just like, it just made the joke funnier. I was like, okay, this guy probably doesn't even have radio.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that are like, "Man, I don't watch the news, man."
Like he's completely.
We got to go in here. Lime 420 says, "I am a nuclear engineer and former U.S. Navy nuclear reactor operator. We have nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons are very real." Oh, yeah? Prove it. Guy on the internet. Look, I'm so smart. I don't believe anything that I read on the internet. So I don't even believe that nukes exist. In fact, I don't think guns are real either. Never seen one. Not one.
They don't exist. Yeah, bullets are fake.
Phil's looking around the room like, "You sure about that?"
What?
You sure about that? What
I was
is
like,
that?
"Hey, wait a minute."
Yeah. No, I think we have nukes. I certainly do. I'm just saying they're conspiracy theorists that go online and claim that there aren't any. They also claim that there's an ice wall and that the Earth is flat. And,
We've never been.
I did watch this funny video where the lady's like, "Do you know why they claim the Earth is round? Because if the Earth is round, there's no escape. If they tell you that the Earth was flat and square, you would seek the edge to find out what's beyond the walls. But if they tell you that your cage just is an infinite loop, you'll never stop."
Yeah.
What if, get this, what if the Earth is flat? But the aliens that lord over us can warp space-time. So when you go flat to the left, like Pac-Man, you wrap around the other side. You know what I mean?
What's going on?
And so the explanation is not that you're teleporting like Pac-Man. It's round.
It's just your perception that's bent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you sometimes watch people talk on the internet and you feel like you lost like maybe 5 IQ points?
God, yes.
Oh my God.
No, I think all of it just makes you smarter. I mean, in all
Sometimes it's
seriousness,
just the tone
I will say
people use.
this.
I'm like, oh my God.
Is it possible that the Earth is flat? To the layman, there's a reason why they believe this. The answer is yes. The average person has not done tests as to whether the Earth is round. They've not, charted the curvature of the Earth or gone to space or done anything meaningful to figure out if the Earth is actually round. So to them, to the average person, if you said, based on the available evidence, they'd say, "I don't know." You could go to someone and say, "Here's scientific evidence," like Eratosthenes. They tracked the shadows 50 miles apart and then saw the difference and then used that to calculate the angle of the sun and the circumference of the Earth. And this is back in like 10 BC or something. The average person is not going to do that.
Nope.
They're not going to call their friend and be like, "Can you measure the angle of the shadow?" So they're just like, "I don't know." Now, to be honest, you could do this. You could call your friend 50 miles south and then calculate the curvature of the Earth. But, to the average person.
If you know the math.
If they know the math, and sadly, there's a lot of unintelligent people out there.
Nobody in
And they
Times
vote.
Square.
And they do vote. And
Man, you
Can
know
I
what?
tell
Can I
you a
just
funny
join the
story?
deep state at this point? Just like,
can I
know,
tell you funny? Something funny?
Phil's looking at me and nodding like, Phil, are you deep state?
No,
He was the whole time.
unfortunately.
Ian is, though.
Phil, this is gonna blow your mind. Like, you know how they vote in Iraq?
With they put their
Fingerprints.
yeah.
They sign, and they fingerprint. it.
Wow.
Why don't we do that? Gee.
Yeah.
Because
Because then Democrats can't cheat.
Yeah.
And guess what?
But don't you ever guys ever sit there and look at how stupid people are and just think like maybe the deep state's right?
Yes.
Maybe Bloomberg was right. We should tax the
I've been
poor.
thinking that for 15 years, man.
I told
People
you
are
guys Ian was deep state.
Generally stupid animals. There's a small number of them that are intelligent enough to lead the show.
That's why
But do you know
nobody
why
should vote.
I don't agree with that authoritarian system? Why I don't actually want a centralized deep state who thinks they're smarter and better than everybody?
Why's that?
Because they're like Ian. Like Ian sitting here saying he told us what a couple weeks ago that he was smarter than everyone in Congress.
I'm not sure I used that phrase.
Now I just want to say that you literally did.
I was indicating that most people
Sure.
in Congress
Now-
aren't genius.
Now, Ian, you've pointed out that most people are stupid, or there's a lot of stupid people. George Carlin said it. Imagine a system run by someone who thinks these people are so insanely stupid, I should be in charge. Also, I can control the weather. That's a government I don't want any part in. You know what I mean?
I'm a lot about decentralized authority.
Let me tell you this, Ian. If you actually demonstrated undeniable proof you controlled the weather, I'd vote for you.
Really?
If you went outside and waved your arm and a storm cloud appeared, bro, I'd bow before you.
can make
I'd
it
be like,
rain.
Ian,
No, you can't.
want
make
me
it rain.
You want me to make it rain right now?
Yes.
Start a call sheet.
If it rains, you've got 45 minutes.
Yeah, give me about an hour. I'm just going to sit here and focus, but
Okay.
I'll see if I can draw some rain. I mean, it would kind of suck to have a storm tonight. But
All right, I'll tell you this.
Ian
It's
is
not
going to a
definitive
whole
proof,
different
but
level.
if it
not
rains, by the time we leave this show, I'll be questioning. You know what I mean? Maybe if you can do it like 5 times in a row,
I know I got to
demonstrate that you can actually control the weather.
evidence over time.
The weather says it's going to rain tonight.
No,
Really? I'm seeing 55%.
Ian's already won.
So you see 55%.
Oh.
So what's your outcome? Do you want me to make it rain or not rain? I'll do one or the other.
Hold on. I'm looking it up. No, I didn't say rain.
No,
No, it's cloudy.
That storm might.
Tomorrow morning. Okay, Ian, I'll tell you this. You got an easy one. It's cloudy right now, and storm's going to hit tomorrow morning, but if you can make it rain tonight,
Oh, okay.
then I'll
You have until midnight.
It was going to be
Ian-
72,
Now,
clear
if-
all night.
I'm not on board with this. If you could really make it rain, you could make it rain in 20 minutes. If you have to be like, oh, at some point in the next couple hours, I'll make it rain. Make it rain now.
Depends.
Well,
a
yeah,
lot.
but hold on. Like, let's say Ian can make it rain because he can force water particles together. He can't create the water particles.
If he can part the clouds and make sure that the storm doesn't hit the White House,
That was over a few hours.
How long did that take? Yeah.
That storm was heading over a few hours into D.C.
And I started at about 5:30. While I was driving towards DC is when I started focusing on and off for about an hour and a half.
That's a lot of material for Ian to move with his mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like if you ever think about like a giant, right? You see like in TV shows, someone turns into a giant or whatever, or they got like Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. People don't understand scale. So if you were 100 feet tall, for your hand to go into your pocket would have to move like 3 football field lengths. Well, if you're 100 feet tall, not really. But it would be like half a football field for your hand to go in your pocket. Someone watching you, you'd be moving really slow. Because if you moved at the same speed, but you were 100 times bigger, the distance between your pocket and your arm would be massive. Your arm would have to move at hundreds of miles per hour to close that distance to simulate the same proximal speed to a smaller person. Right? My point is, Ian might be able to blow on something and it rolls away, but to blow an entire cloud, which is thousands to tens of thousands of tons, if not more, it might take him a little while. You know what I mean?
it might.
Depends on what.
Here's a good example. You ever see a wind turbine spinning? and it looks like it's going like slow, like you can see it going around, and you're like, oh yeah, it's going like 200 miles an hour or some insane. And it's whacking birds. It goes whack, and the birds.
His ideology is actually not far off from what Muslims do. Like, have you guys heard of
Muslims can change the rain? Or change the
no,
weather?
they
I
have
thought that was the Jews.
They have a special prayer, like for same thing. I think the Jewish people have the same thing. Like if they have like a drought season and whatnot, they have like a special prayer, but they have to do it in mass.
Yeah, but I think Ian's more like the Aztecs, like splay a child and pull his heart out, and then maybe the crops will grow.
It could be a whole other religion because it's just magnetic focus. I don't know.
It's not magnetic.
Well, like I don't say any words. A lot of these religions have mantras.
Do you know what magnetism is?
No, he does
Still
not.
figuring it out.
You want to just Google it right now, and then maybe your perspective will change because you keep
No.
using that word wrong.
He
Magnetism?
doesn't want to do that either.
You want the basic modern scientific understanding of
Well, you keep saying magnetism, but you're using it in ways that doesn't apply to the general science.
craze.
No, it's not. It's a specific reference. We're going to go to the uncensored
be an
portion of the
acronym.
show, ladies and gentlemen. And we got a doozy of a story for you. You're not going to want to miss this one. It's going to be at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. And this is one of those things that YouTube would get mad about. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Sir, do you want to shout anything out?
Yeah, thank you very much for hosting me. You can follow me on X, and I have a very small YouTube channel where you can see my Ukraine work over there. It's the same thing. It's Aladdin 1983, and Aladdin is with double L, double D. And I want to shout out to Data Republican, Jenica. Thank you very much, and thank you for everything you've done for me. You've been a great friend and a great family to me. I appreciate
Nice.
that.
Mad info, man. That was great. I'm at Ian Crossland. Follow me at Ian Crossland. I'm going to get negative here and focus, so I might not be super personable in the after show. But I'll bring some moisture together and see if we can make it rain. Phil?
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. You can check us out on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, and Deezer. Don't forget, Ian can't change the weather.
By the way, if you guys...
Now you're going to get those signs for your next show. Holding up. Ian?
If you guys not familiar with the All That Remain band, it's actually a great music.
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Thank you.
That's his band. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Sitting
Wow.
next to this guy at
What a
night.
coincidence.
Anyway, you can follow me at Carter Banks everywhere and at Carter Banks Official everywhere else. Follow the record label at Trash House Records on YouTube. New song coming out 6/19. Check out the promo. And yeah, I can't wait for the after show. This sounds like it's going to be spicy. Well, let's go. Except the rain.
We'll see you guys at rumble.com/Timcast IRL right now for the uncensored portion. Thanks for hanging out.